broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey guys, it's Loren here in the studio. I am back for you. It's been a few weeks where I've been absent, so I'm sorry about that. But we are doing Mob Wives tonight. This is obviously season 5, episode 10, Deck the Brawls. My co-host Erika will be here shortly. I know that she's usually on this panel too. But we had a little scare in Hollywood today as they claim that there could be a bomb near Hollywood in Highland where the Oscars are taking place this Sunday. So there were helicopters, road closures, and it was kind of a trip getting here. So we're going to do a short and concise episode today. Forgive us. But at the same time, there's not really much going on. I feel like we've kept the same storyline between the two Natalies going at each other and trying to pull people to different sides for the last like 5 episodes. I don't know what you guys think, but you can let us know in the comments. But I'm going to start with the fact that Carla's back in the picture. How crazy is that? I mean, I've missed her, I'm not going to lie. I know that it's a little bit strange that she is on the show for a few episodes making that special guest appearance, and you know, she has this drama with Drita for some weird reason, and nobody really knows what happened or why Drita is not really acknowledging her every time they're in the room together. It's kind of awkward. But it's cool that Renee is kind of taking the horns and, you know, still welcoming her back in the group. And we see them have some quality time during the episode. But she does question it later on when Natalie D throws a big event towards the end of the episode. You know, why isn't Drita around? Why isn't she, you know, acknowledging me? It's a very weird, uncomfortable situation, and she's kind of out of the loop. But are we surprised? There's always drama in this circle, and something's always a problem, right? And then you know what? Drita, speaking of her, she actually just got back from vacation in this episode. She went to Disneyland with her family. I think it's adorable that she had thought of this to bring her 2 children and her husband, who just got, you know, off probation, to Florida. First of all, if you guys haven't been to Disney Orlando, it's phenomenal. It's literally the best Disney you can go to. I live in California, obviously, right now, and there's a Disney out here, but it does not compare. So it was super cute. I just wonder, though, you know, is her husband actually out there? Do people know who he is? Because I know they kind of provide some information. We know his name is Lee, but he obviously doesn't want to be on the show. We only get his voice. Isn't it a little bit strange? Like, do they go out together? And I'm sure people recognize Drita. I mean, she's in a public place. Do they not have pictures of Lee? Does anyone have this information? Because I would love, love, love to know if you guys know what he looks like or have seen them together. If you're in and around New York and maybe had a run-in with one of the Mob Wives, it would be interesting to know, because obviously he's trying to keep his privacy. But either way, I do think it was a really cute idea that, you know, they brought their family out to spend quality time together, because let's be real, it must be really hard to, you know, support a family and have a strong family bond when you're missing somebody important like a parent for most of your life. I mean, granted, these girls are not that old yet, but they're still at an age where they're growing, but they missed out on a lot with their father. So it's kind of like a good time to, you know, get back into the groove and celebrate those holidays and do family things together. So I think that was really smart of Drita. And I don't remember if it was this episode or last episode, but when they did the scrapbook, I thought that was so freaking cute. So sweet of her. Hey. So sweet of her. I think, is Erika here? Yay, she's here. So my other co-host is back in the studio. I was just talking about the scrapbook thing, and I don't remember if that was last episode or this one, but I just was saying how cute it was because I was talking about Disneyland and, you know, how Drita was on a trip with her family. But I think that that's nice what they're doing to kind of get their family back together. What do you think?
The scrapbooking was this.
It was this episode, right?
Episode, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was super sweet that, you know, she had the kids do that for their father, and he was able to see pictures that he'd never seen from all those years he missed out on everything.
Yeah, I mean, in the phone conversation where we see Lee discover the scrapbook from Drita, I mean, Drita hid it in Lee's office.
Right.
Or office store, whatever it was.
Yeah, in his store.
I feel like it's the first time that we actually heard Lee say actually nice comments. It was super cute how he was like, oh, my girls. Like, I feel like every single time that we're exposed to Lee and we see him, he's such a jerk.
Right.
We don't see a good light of him, and we don't know who he is because we don't ever have the opportunity to meet him.
Right.
So this was like the first, like, it was like, oh, there's like a somewhat softer side of Lee, I guess.
Right. And I am going to agree with you on that because I know in previous episodes and recaps, I have said, you know, I'm not really a fan of Lee. Yeah, he's been a jerk. He's not sounded nice on the phone. He's very demanding, kind of like, where's my dinner at, to Drita nonstop. And I just didn't like that relationship they had. But I feel like, he's bringing out a softer side in him lately. Maybe it's hard when you first come out of jail. You have to probably play this hard facade for a while, you know, and so you don't get beat up or worse in the cell. And maybe on coming out, and just just adjusting to normal life after so many years not being in life,
being around a bunch of men.
Yeah, being around a bunch of men, like locked up. It's hard. So I can imagine maybe he's just like finally feeling more comfortable where he's at, you know, with her.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much of it speculative because we just don't ever have the opportunity to meet with him, you know? So it's like, not that we meet with him, but to see him.
Right, so. I know, it's kind of crazy. So, and the next thing I wanted to talk about was how Natalie G went to therapy with London.
Yeah, did you already talk about the moms meeting?
Oh, actually, no, I didn't.
So,
that's a good point.
At the beginning of the episode, we see Natalie's and London's mother meeting for the first time. And that was kind of interesting because, I mean, Natalie talks about, like, I get my very aggressive behavior from my mom and blah, blah, blah. And, like, London's mom totally put Natalie on the spot. He's like, I saw that behavior, the 0 to 100 in, like, 2 seconds. I've seen it, and I didn't know what to make of it. And London's like, even in front of my mother, Natalie still exhibits that kind of behavior, which... I mean, doesn't look so good. Doesn't look good, but at the end of the day, it does seem like London is still totally in love with her and with Natalie, and that it's a personality flaw, but it seems like they're trying to work it out, like you said. So then we see the two of them at therapy, trying to make their relationship work, and that was a really interesting scene, I thought.
I agree. And you know what? Their relationship in general interests me because I'm all about finding a partner that's on your level, but I know that opposites attract, and I feel like they are opposites. They have a lot of issues, and you think when you see your friends that have problems and are always arguing that they should break up, right? That they'd be better off. Well, they're the opposite. They fight all the time, but they want marriage and kids. So it's kind of interesting. But I guess if they're both in it for the long haul and they both have, you know, good intentions, I'm all about it, but I just don't really like how much they argue. It freaks me out a little bit.
They argue a lot. When couples, I mean, and everybody knows, like, that kind of a couple. The couple that, like, it's, like, super in love, but at the same time, they're, like, always having these crazy fights. Like, you always know that no matter what, like, you're going to go out, and they're going to be the ones that get in a fight, and they have to go, and they always end up leaving early or whatever because they get into some stupid fight. And, like, they're, like, oh, they're that couple, you know? And sometimes those couples make it, and they end up having that kind of relationship forever, and a lot of times something happens and they don't. But regardless, the good thing is that it seems like they're both trying to want to make it work. That's, I think, is like what's essential. Because if you've got two parties and they're always fighting, and one person wants to try and make it work, and one person's like, no, therapy is dumb, I'll never do that, then you know there's like no hope. But it really seems like London is really interested in doing this therapy. It seems like Natalie wants to as well, and I think because of that willingness to get outside help and that willingness to work on the relationship, it could probably do okay.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I really loved the therapist, how she called Natalie out, because she totally needed to be called out.
She started
getting loud again,
and Natalie didn't like it.
But I think it made her realize, you know, what she does, because a lot of people aren't aware. I mean, maybe being on a reality show, she gets more aware of it.
I'm sure she is by now.
Yeah, she's able to watch herself back on TV. But if you don't understand your own behavior sometimes you can't really, you're not outside of your body to look at yourself. So it's really hard for you to judge what is right and wrong, and, you know, unless you're really self-aware, which I don't think she is. So hopefully with this therapy, it will create a stronger bond between them, and they can work on things, and maybe she'll be a different Natalie by the end.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what this therapy means. I don't know if they've been going to therapy all along and we just seen a glimpse of it. I don't know if they're just starting to do this therapy. I don't know if it's just a one-off thing just for the show. I'm thinking that's what it is. I don't feel like they're going to be serious about the therapy thing. But I think they're trying to give us some insight into their relationship and just show that even though they have problems, that the two of them have that willingness to make it work out. And I mean, London seems like a pretty level-headed guy. Like, he's just like, he said, yeah, Natalie has this issue. And here's the thing. I kind of understand Natalie's point in that she says that, you know, whenever I start saying anything, then London breaks. He, like, shuts down. And then that's what aggravates Natalie even more. And then she gets more and more and more upset.
Right.
I understand that to an extent because, in a way, like, on a much less level, that's my husband and I, it's kind of the same thing. Like, I'll get kind of upset and he just shuts down. And that gets me more upset because it's like, well, listen to me, you know, and then you end up. So, anyway, so I understand that dynamic. Yeah. So, I mean, London, and it looks like the therapist trying to tell London, well, you need to tell her that you're listening to her and blah, blah, blah. So,
right. I think on both ends they need to figure it out. But it seems like they are going, because I think she had referenced that on the date with their mothers.
So they, okay.
Yeah, I think that she said, well, therapy's helping or something to that effect.
Well, good. I mean, I don't know, though, like, I don't want to, like, talk smack on that because it's a good thing they're going to therapy, but to me, like, if a relationship already needs therapy, like, before marriage and before all the issues of kids and everything, then you're like, oh my God, what's going to happen when, like, real issues come up? This is a period of time where it's supposed to be kind of a honeymoon period where you're just dating, and I know she has her own kid, but, like, this is supposed to be the time where it's supposed to be easy, and if now you're going through couples therapy, like, I don't know.
Well, some people
But they are older, so it's not like they're in their 20s or anything. They're both older, in their 30s, so.
Right. Some people will always have toxic relationships.
That's true.
As we see with the rest of the castmates and their friendships.
That's true.
And sometimes it never goes away because it's just in their blood. It's who they are, and it's how they grew up.
It's what they're attracted to.
Yeah, it's what they're attracted to. So I think that's just really what the situation is. That's why they work together, because they understand it.
Yeah. And so speaking of relationship, we see a little bit of Karen's relationship with Storm and Karina.
Oh, yeah.
So Karen, made a point.
Cute.
I know, that was cute. Karen said, I want Storm to get to know Karina. I want Karina to get to know Storm. I mean, obviously, the relationship with Storm is pretty strong because she said, I'm very wary of the kind of guys I bring around my daughter. I mean, yeah, it's a big deal. If you're gonna bring this guy around your daughter, hopefully you have the intentions of marrying him and having him stay in your life, because what is she, like, 15 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to bring that into a 15-year-old's life. And
no, it's unstable,
it's too unstable. So, but it looks like Karen's wanting to make that little family work.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I hope that he's smart enough not to mess it up, because we saw a close call earlier in the season. So I'm just hoping he got his stuff together and that won't happen again.
I don't know.
But he's looking okay. He seemed like, he's really about the family life, and he's spending quality time with her, so that's good. And he makes sure she's okay in the city. He said, if you ever need anything, you know who to call. You have your mom and me.
Yeah.
So that was really nice and endearing.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they got a pretty decent relationship. We'll just see. I don't know, that whole close thing with the girl and coming in at the bathroom at 7 a.m. was super weird. So who knows? We also get a piece of information that there's a chance that her father might be out of jail earlier because of some law change or something. So I guess time will tell on that one. So, all right. So
the major thing would be the Natalie D party.
Yeah.
The charity event.
Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about that, or there's a few things kind of leading up to that? I think.
Let's see, because we might have talked about
so
them.
Carla, do you talk about Carla and Renee?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I just think one thing I want to say about that whole thing, it's like, I always feel like when one drama gets wrapped up, here comes a whole nother drama. Carla, who's like nowhere to be seen, and now she pops up and there's like a drama that's happening between her and Drita.
I don't even think it's, but that's like the nature of these girls. And then you honestly wonder, though, what is going on? Like, why is Drita acting like that way?
It's so weird. One thing that a little bit annoys me is that Carla's kind of acting like, I have no idea, and blah, blah. Come on, you got to have some kind of an idea, because Carla's acting more pissed versus more confused than her. I think if I was really close to somebody, like you and me, we're friends. And I think if out of the blue, you were acting super weird around me and like took off, and I'm like, I'd be like, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, that Gabby, she's awful. I'd be like, why? Like, what happened? Like, is everything okay? Did I do something?
Which I think that's how she was reacting
Carla?
up until the Natalie D event, where she was kind of like feeding off everyone else's energy and animosity towards
but even
Drita and Natalie
But
G.
even still, though, like, if you're friends with them, or you were, you would think you can at least. Like, to me, the feelings would go more towards hurt and confused versus angry and upset.
Which is, I think she was hurt and confused in the first scene, where I think it was last episode, where they were in, the bar setting. The first time Carla was introduced.
The mob candy party.
Yeah, so the first time Carla was reintroduced, that event was where I feel like she was a little confused and like, what's going on? But then the end of this episode 10, was the one where she got a little angry. But I mean, the ladies are drinking. But
nothing happened between like Drita at that point. It's not like anything new.
Nothing we've seen.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, and Carla, like, what she's saying is like, oh, I don't know, I have no idea. But it's like, I think my point is that I think she does know why Drita's pissed off, and she's trying to like either stir the pot for the show or kind of, make it.
I'm going to disagree with you on that, because I don't know if you've had friends like this, but there are definitely a good amount of people I've had in my life, especially since coming to LA, where you're really close, and then all of a sudden you don't hear from them.
Yeah.
It happens, and then you're just very confused, and the dynamic shifts, and you don't really understand why. I don't know if it's just here.
I guess I can see that. I've had like one or two friends like that, but for me, it's always like never been like on my end. It's always been like, I'll talk about it. Let's talk about it.
You're the Carla.
Yeah.
I get it. So am I.
I'm like, let me talk about it. I'm not going to like peace out and like, sayonara, I hate you, and I'm going to leave and be like, okay,
that's why
if I don't like you, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you what you did to upset me. So I guess what I think is, I do think that Carla knows. I think Carla knows more than what she's leading on.
See,
you don't.
I don't agree with that, because I think that there's probably some issue or something that Drita doesn't like about. I mean, she said, in front of the screen to everybody that she wasn't really about Carla, because Carla's kind of boring. She said it.
Yeah, I know, but they were like loved each other for so long. They did,
but maybe Drita was fake about that friendship.
That's so
for
weird.
The cameras.
That's
Who knows?
so weird. Drita doesn't strike me as like a fake person.
I mean, hey, she's going, like the other girls say, she goes back and forth between friends. She doesn't know who to believe, what to think. So she's flip-floppy.
I mean, I do think she's been pretty consistent this entire season with
maybe this season
on Natalie G.
But if you look at all 5, she's had different friends in different places and different arguments in different places.
Yeah.
So she's a little wishy-washy.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll disagree on that.
Yeah. Agree to disagree.
We'll agree to disagree, and we'll still be friends.
Yeah, exactly.
I love you, Gabby.
I love you too, Erika.
Okay, so then I guess then the next thing really to talk about is the whole party that Nat D, her charity event. What does she do exactly? Like, how is she able to throw this whole charity event?
Right?
Do you know?
I don't even know.
I don't know either.
I mean, maybe if we've missed something, you guys, you can let us know. I mean, I know she was a model at some point. I mean, obviously to bring her into the show. Yeah, but really is right.
Yeah.
She was a model. I don't know what else she's about, but it was an interesting event that she had.
Yeah, it was it was a charity event, which is fabulous. It's
for
great.
Toys for Tots, I think.
Yeah, or something. Yeah, is that what it was for Toys for Tots?
Sure, yeah.
It was around the holidays. So, well, prior to the party, actually, there was a discussion where we saw Drita and Ange talking, the two of them, where Drita told Ange, I'm not going to be going to this party. And she's like, why? Mm-hmm. And really, it's because of the Natalie G thing. And she's like, Nat D riled me up and got me to believe that Nat G is this horrible person, and I confronted her all upset, and she's like, and realistically speaking, I have no proof of that. She really hasn't done anything to me, and now she feels bad, and she kind of feels like this Nat D girl kind of played her a little bit, and so she just doesn't, and the other thing too is like, it sounds like she was annoyed because she thought that Renee and Karen were still talking bad about Nat not G. I don't know. She just seemed to want to be around that.
It just seems like they're, like I said in the beginning, they are really keeping this story going, and nobody wants to drop it. And unfortunately, I feel like Natalie D's way into this group is to keep the drama going and to keep her in the center of it. And like, honestly, this episode made me like Natalie Garcia, and I know everyone thinks we're haters on her, but it's not that I hate her. It's just I'm analyzing what she's doing, and I have my own opinions, which we're all allowed to. But in this episode, I actually wanted to side with her, and it's honestly just who's more convincing each time.
Well, it's also the editing, what they choose to show, and all that. I mean, I feel like they've turned a corner with Natalie G in the last couple episodes where they showed her being a little bit more vulnerable, being more self-aware, maybe. Finally showing some emotion, apologizing, realizing the type of things that she's been doing. So I think it's purposeful. I think they, I always feel that, the editors and the producers are always trying to steer our thoughts about it by presenting us their sides of the story. And they have been showing Natalie G in a very unfavorable light. So more than likely, it's like, well, what I see is what I don't like it. But they're turning the corner, I think, a little bit with her. I think it's to juxtapose this new Natalie, which, dude, they're making her out to look really nasty.
Right.
Like, she is like, I'm like, whoa. Like,
in this
I don't
episode
understand
especially.
your motive. Like, and I think that's what I don't get about her in this episode especially. Yes. I don't understand her motive. I don't understand. I mean, maybe her motive is just to stay on the show, but
that's what I'm thinking. It's to get in with the group and keep her being the center of the attention.
Yeah.
She needs to have something to talk about, and she doesn't know how to talk about what she does, so, which maybe it's not, maybe it's crime related, so maybe she can't talk about it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. She's trying to keep, I know, now she's throwing this whole, like, charity ball, but, like, okay, so let's break it down. So we see Natalie D throwing this charity event.
She invites everybody.
She invites all the ladies, everyone. No one's excluded, which I always think is smart. Don't ever exclude anybody, because that in itself causes issues.
Right.
And then she's expecting everybody to show up. We already know that Drita's not coming because of the conversation we saw prior. So then we see Renee come in. She's looking fabulous with some fur coat. She's coming in with her new BFF, Carla. Carla's, looking great. And then Big Ange comes in. Oh, yeah, Karen comes in too. So the ladies are all walking in. Looks like they're having a good time, but we all know that there is going to be an issue that comes up about Drita. And it's so interesting because Drita, in a way, has been flying on the radar a little bit the last almost like couple seasons with drama, I feel like. Whereas it's like totally focusing on her. Now you got two people that are super upset at Drita. You got Carla and you got Natalie G. Or D. Sorry.
And it's kind of funny how Big Ange tried to play it like she didn't know why Drita didn't show up. That just makes, I know she doesn't want to get involved, so she's trying to be like safe. But at the same time, you also look like you're lying because everyone knows you are well aware of why Drita wasn't there. So why not? I mean, it came out afterwards. She did admit, well, maybe she just didn't feel comfortable being in the situation because of the Natalies. But say that in the beginning. Don't let us think that you don't want, that you're not a loyal and trustworthy person.
I know, and I think Big Ange was just hoping that the topic wouldn't be discussed or just wouldn't get brought up, and
she's sick of it.
They could just enjoy and have a nice time. But this Natalie D, I mean, I was like, there was a point where she was talking and it looked like she was crying, and I was like, do you realize you're talking about
when they were leaving? I think
no,
they were about to leave
when they were sitting down at the table when she was saying,
because Ange was freaking out. She's like, this is not what I wanted to come here for.
And the Natalie D was like, well, she called you a sea hag. I did it. I'm like thinking, you're talking about other people and other people's drama, and you're this fired up about it. Why? What happened? Did Natalie G steal your boyfriend back in the day? Why are you so adamant about, if it's not just her being on the show, do you have another motive for wanting to bring down this chick?
Yeah, see, this is where I am now confused as a fan, because I have two predictions of where I feel like this is going to take us to, but it could go in such opposite ways, and I feel like, yes, the producers are toying with us now because they want you to be confused so that when the season finale hits, you're shocked.
Oh, yeah.
Something you least expect.
Yeah, and so, I mean, she's just so, Natalie D is just so emotional about it, and it's I don't know, because we don't know Natalie D enough to like her.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're like, oh yeah, no, we really understand where she's coming from. It's like this random girl that comes in there all of a sudden, coming in on fire, on heat, just da da da, Drita with Natalie G, and she's just so aggressive about it. I think she's not like, well, yeah, she's not here. Let's like let it go or whatever. What do you mean Drita's not here because of that? Drita's not here because of that? What do you mean? It's like, whoa, like, dude, chill out.
And
like,
she acts very offended that Drita didn't show up. And meanwhile,
like,
they've only known each other a little while.
That's the thing. It's like, I don't understand, like, why you're acting like this. Like, and it comes off as insincere. It comes off as trying too hard. It comes off as having an ulterior motive. It just doesn't come off as genuine and sincere. So then, to me, she loses credibility because she just doesn't. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up.
It doesn't. And
she's trying too hard.
And I think it was smart of Big Ange to, she stood her ground. She was like, you know what? You talk about this, that, and the other, but you weren't supporting at the last event, and all you were doing was bringing up Natalie G's name, and you kept bringing it up. Honestly, this episode made me feel like, oh my God, Ange's anxiety.
Yeah,
I wanted to leave the room too.
So did I. And I'm usually not one to like shy from confrontation. Yes. And even in this situation, and then when Karen started jumping in and was like, what did she say? She was
about the family stuff.
Yeah, she was like, Karen was upset at Big Ange and was like, well,
this is the girl that called out my family that says we're rats, blah, 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 and I'm your friend. Okay, we get it, Karen. You said it the last 20
Natalie
episodes.
G, like, we totally
and we
know.
understand, and I don't blame you, because I would too if my family's name was in her mouth. But at the same time, like, okay, you are beating a dead horse again. Same with Natalie D. You're beating a dead horse. Like, let it go. That's not on Ange. That's not her responsibility to, be dealing with your problems with Natalie G.
And then,
I just feel like they're each trying to get their say into the conversation because they don't like this girl.
They don't like, but Karen and Ange have some history, a friendship and history together. And like when Nat D started going in, she's like, her father who blah, 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 blah.
Oh,
and Big Ange is like, okay, you don't need to give me a history of Karen. I know her way better than you. You've known her for 10 minutes.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, I was like,
I was impressed by that. That literally sold me that comment when she said that. Because
sold you on what?
You're right. That is her trying too hard. Because now, why are you getting involved? You are not the storyteller. You're not the narrator.
No, you're not the boss of the group at all. You know, and I don't blame Renee for walking away.
This is Mob Wives, not my boss. Yeah. There is no chief here.
No mob boss. It's Mob Wives, and I don't even think she's a mob wife. She's
not.
Like a mob.
She's mob related.
Relative. It's not even in the same ball game as the other ladies. So the whole scene really rubbed me wrong with this Nat D thing. I'm not saying I'm a huge Nat G, lover. I think she's coming around. I'm not saying she's amazing, but in this case, this Nat D is really rubbing me the wrong way.
She's looking bad.
She's looking really, really bad.
News.
And who knows? We'll see what happens. She's trying too hard. I don't know. I don't blame Ange for being annoyed. And here's the one thing I have to say is that as much as we all were like, I don't know why Ange and Drita are staying loyal to Nat G. She's kind of a newcomer. However, at this point, I do give them credit for sticking to their guns and in some way, at least then picking a side and not going back and forth and defending. If they're going to say, hey, I'm friends with Nat G, at least they're following through on it and defending her. And they're not going back and forth with that.
I'm also proud of Drita for actually approaching Natalie G instead of going behind the back and gossiping.
Yeah.
She confronted her about it. They had a civil conversation. Natalie G opened up, which is why I think I'm respecting her more. Cried a little bit. Yeah. They got emotional. And, made it clear that, listen, I will not put your name in my mouth.
Yeah.
I would never do that. Yeah. So that I'm good with, and I'm really happy the producers showed that scene because it's now making me turn a new leaf with this character.
Yeah, well, I guess time will only tell. It sounds like now all guns are pointing to Drita. She's on the hot seat.
Yeah, she's on the hot seat, that's for sure.
And with the Carla adding to the mix, it just looks like things aren't going to be good for Drita.
But she shouldn't be attacked. There was nothing going on for there to be an argument in the first place. She's allowed to not go to a party. Yeah. Relax, lady.
I know. It's seriously, why are you making such a big freaking deal about it? You're making this way bigger deal than it actually is.
If I had girlfriends that freaked out on me for not showing up to something. If I told them I was not comfortable, oh my goodness, I would be super frustrated.
I would too. And it's all part of the show or whatever.
It is part of the show, but whatever. So going off of that, what do you think is going to happen from here on out with that situation?
I don't know. I think that Drita and Carla, I think they're gonna make up and figure out what's going on with them. I think this is like, it's not anything that's awful. I think they're gonna make it up. With the Nat, I think there's gonna be some fire there. For sure. I am looking forward to the two Natalies confronting one another because both of these women seem like they have very hot tempers.
Yes.
And Natalie G, in my opinion, has what I see a right to be mad at this Natalie D. This Natalie D doesn't know her and seems to be spending every waking moment that she has thinking or talking about her.
It's very ironic and like storytelling to not have the Natalies in any episode together yet, because they're either going to do it in the finale or in the reunion, and there's going to be a brawl.
Yeah, there's
like,
gonna be.
Forget deck the brawls. How about start the brawl and finish the brawl?
Yeah, it's gonna be. You're right. They're really.
They're building it,
up.
yeah. And honestly, okay, so this is what I think. I think it could go one of two ways. Either Natalie G's honestly crazy and did say those things, and there will be evidence of that, and then everyone's going to turn on her. Or they're going to realize Natalie D was just making up stuff because maybe they have animosity and obviously a history of, even though they've never met, they have a history of drama together.
Yeah.
Whether it
Those are
be
the
family
two.
related, friends related, boyfriend related, who knows?
Those are the only two outcomes I see.
Yeah.
Natalie G is lying or Natalie D is lying. One of the two women's are
not telling, being straight up.
And it's because
agree.
one or the other has a big ulterior motive and hates the other for some reason.
There is an ulterior motive between one of these women.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Let us know.
Yeah,
what
let us
team are
know.
you on?
Nat D or Nat G?
Team Nat D or Nat G?
Yeah.
And we're indecisive, clearly.
Yeah, I'm indecisive. I don't know.
It's a hard one.
It's hard to side on Nat D because we don't really know her that well. So it's hard to kind of really pick a side because it's a little unfair to Nat D because we've known G for the last couple seasons and all that. But, I mean, really, do you think Nat G is lying or do you think she's not?
Well, there was also a scene that they showed for the next episode where Nat D's outside and her boyfriend comes out and he's kind of like pissed at her, like, why did you something?
Oh, yeah.
So to me, I feel
that
like
was weird.
I feel like in a previous episode when she was like, well, you know, Nat G was on the phone with my boyfriend saying all this about you guys at your sea hags, blah, 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 blah. I feel like there's going to be something that happens where maybe, like, there's evidence of it. Maybe she recorded it. I don't know. Maybe something happens. And he freaks out because now he's involved in something he didn't want to get involved in. And maybe it was supposed to be, like, confidential, keep between them. And maybe she really did say it, but maybe her words were twisted, too. You know,
and what
maybe
is
it wasn't.
a sea hag? I've never heard that.
Like I feel like it's an old
like a
looking,
hag
like, yeah.
from the sea washed up.
Well, listen, they live by Staten Island, which is like on the water,
Yeah.
around the water.
I've never
and
heard
a
that term
hag, you know
before.
what a hag is.
I
like-
know, but it's funny because
They're like a sea hag.
I've never heard that term before. Have you heard that term before?
I mean, I've never heard someone call someone that. It's kind of
I've
old
never
school.
heard it. I was like, sea hags? Like, what the? What? I mean, I get it, but like, I've never heard that
But
term.
I mean, listen, she's young, trying to call out an older group
Yeah.
of women, so maybe that was proper terminology. I don't know.
I don't know.
It was weird.
These
are
always-
no SAT words here, you guys. By any means.
These are a crazy group of women that are constantly going to bring us incredible amounts of drama every single week and give us lots and lots to talk about.
Yeah.
So it's just going to grow from here on.
Yeah, it will
All right.
grow. Can't
So-
wait till next episode. Actually, no, I cannot wait till the finale. I know I
know.
don't want this season to be over, but at the same time, like, I just want to figure out how this ends.
And I hope it's like a big time 3-parter finale where they really go big and there's just so many fights they just can't keep it all in one episode.
Go big or go home.
Go big or
That's
go
what I
home.
say.
That's my motto. All right, Gabby, where can everybody find you?
Everyone can find me at GabbyLO87 on Instagram, and on Twitter you can tweet me at Gabrielle, 2 E's and 2 L's _ Loren if you have questions or want to reach out or anything about the show.
Awesome. And I am your host, Erika Vieira. Sorry for being late, but I am here. I made it. And you can find me on my website, beautyandthevlog.com. I have a podcast where we talk all about YouTube and YouTubers, and that's called Beauty and the Vlog. All right, guys, until next week. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later, bitches.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.